You ever feel like you might be late to finding love? Maybe someone your age just got married or just fell in love. Or maybe they just went through 4 divorces at 20 years old. This is Abby, a Chinese influencer whose entire life revolved around constantly changing her face so that she could marry a new guy every year. She's someone who realized that every failed plastic surgery she got would make her viral. So she took advantage of that and kept undergoing procedures, hoping that it would fail. She goes by the saying, every new relationship always needs a new face. She's talking about herself. I've got an insane story for you guys today because Abby is no ordinary girl. She's probably in the top 3 most famous influencers of Douyin who reached celebrity level and is also known as China's most rebellious teenager. This girl not only went through 4 divorces with rich influencers at 20 years old, but she's also the pioneer of the infamous bubble face image that terrified netizens across China. She's known for looking like a completely different person every couple of months by getting face transplants. Pretty much, if you marry her, you're destined to have your life ruined. Marriage is just a free trial to her, and this entire obsession with marriage and plastic surgery all started when she was just a kid. Abby was born in Nanjing, China in 1999, and for the first 10 years of her life, everything was relatively normal, just a pretty average childhood. That's until her parents got divorced. Now, the divorce wasn't the main issue. It was what happened afterwards. Her mother eventually remarried and wanted to start a new chapter of her life. Unfortunately, this chapter involved a stepfather who was an alcoholic. Abby said that her mother and stepfather just abandoned her at a house in Nanjing for a couple months, only like leaving her with her dog. And school wasn't much better either. She got involved with the wrong crowd, started drinking, partying, and even eventually just dropped out of school in secret. She basically rebelled against everything, and it's not surprising considering how uninvolved her parents are in her life. So at just 14 years old, she secretly took the pocket money she earned and got her first plastic surgery without telling her parents. And her parents immediately found out when they looked at her nose and realized that something was different. They were devastated, and the first thing they decided to do was sign her up for a reality show. Yeah, that's probably the last thing you thought I'd say. And this wasn't any ordinary reality show. This show is called Transformation, and it is huge in China. The whole idea was taking rebellious city kids and then sending them to extremely poor rural areas so that they could experience hardship and hopefully learn to appreciate what they had. And Abby ended up getting sent to a mountain village, and of course, life there was nothing like she'd ever seen before. In this family, the adults were either working all day or in prison, and the eldest son had to raise his younger siblings all by himself. And then something happened that genuinely affected her. She met a girl wearing tattered clothes who hadn't eaten, so Abby took it upon herself to cook noodles for her. The kid took it, and instead of immediately eating it herself, the first thing she did was share the noodles with her younger siblings so everybody could have something to eat. And that scene alone made Abby break down in tears. Because probably for the first time in her life, realizing that no matter how difficult her circumstances were, it was not as bad as this. She realized that there were people struggling even more than her, and despite that, they still cared for one another. I mean, it's clear that she needed to see this in person with her own eyes to understand this. She could have just watched a top 5 saddest commercial video, but that just doesn't hit the same. When she returned home, she hugged her stepfather, and he promised that he would support her. She promised that she wouldn't get any more plastic surgery, like she's done. And for a moment, it really looked like she was turning her life around. And she was. In a completely different way. Also, while I was back in Asia, it took me almost a year to find a doctor. I just kept telling myself that I'd figure it out eventually, and I actually got a really bad ache in my eye. I was just searching up random clinics hoping that something would work out, and I was lost. This is where today's sponsor, ZocDoc, comes in. ZocDoc is a free website that helps you find and book quality doctors near you. This is only available in the US, but you just go on, search for doctors in your area that take your insurance, read through real patient reviews, see their actual availability, and then you just book it. You can even book a casual video appointment at home. You can also search by specialty or even just by symptoms. Appointments usually happen within 24 to 72 hours, and sometimes you can even score same-day appointments. They've got over 150,000 providers across 200 plus specialties in all 50 states. I chose an eye doctor for my aches, filtered by what worked for my schedule, and chose based on the reviews. all done in 5 minutes. Comparing that to putting it a whole year off, zero stress this time. So if you've got an appointment that you've been putting off, one click is all it takes. I know it may seem small, but just clicking the link in the description is a huge step towards prioritizing your health. Taking care of your health just got easier. Head to www.zocdoc.com/Wani to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. Thanks so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video and for helping us all take better care of our health. The biggest lesson she took away from transformation wasn't gratitude. It wasn't being a better person. No, she realized she liked the fame. And for the first time in her life, millions of people were paying attention to her story. And more importantly, attention can become money. And money can get her plastic surgery, which ultimately gets her more attention. Because from that point onward, Abby pretty much just discovered the formula that would define her entire life. After her fame from transformation, she started building her own online business and began selling products through live streams. She wasn't a huge influencer yet, but she was learning the game. She knew people didn't just buy products. They buy stories and they buy drama. Like, nobody is sitting there watching someone sell tea for 3 hours. This is also where her plastic surgery obsession went completely off the rails, because she realized that if she kept getting plastic surgery, she could attract male celebrities and look different every time things didn't work out. A famous quote she said is, "Starting from today, I'll keep getting plastic surgery until I'm old." And she wasn't joking, this girl went on an absolute surgery spree. The first major thing she did was try lifting her face with fillers. Except, things went horribly wrong because it turned out the fillers were counterfeit and they contained growth factors. And if you guys remember the growth factors I talked about before, this failure was the origin that created the bubble face photo that terrified people across all of China. And here's the crazy part, she leaned into it because she realized people couldn't stop talking about it. Every failed procedure became viral and every new surgery raised questions. Okay, wait a second. My surgeries, failed or successful, are paying my bills. The Douyin algorithm was basically rewarding her for ruining her own face. And once she realized that, there was no stopping, because she later underwent 6 nose surgeries by using her ear cartilage and the bone from her ribs to implant into her nose. And because of this, too much tissue in her nostrils had been cut away, and her nostrils became so small to where she can't even breathe properly. She literally has to use her fingers to open her nose every time she wanted to take a deep breath. And these unnatural features slowly start to become a part of her identity. She even said, "I did this for you guys. You said my nose was too upturned, so I changed it." And after all of these procedures, this eventually led us to her first marriage. She met this influencer named Mr. Pig. Now, his real name is Qiu Xitian, but almost everyone knows him by his nickname Mr. Pig, so we'll call him that, and you'll understand why in a bit. Abby was 18 years old at the time, and she quickly fell in love. And before long, she became pregnant. And instead of keeping the pregnancy private, she live streamed it. I'm serious. When she was giving birth, she decided, why not take advantage of this and start selling some products? Imagine entering the world and the first thing waiting for you is chat. The daughter was nicknamed Little Pig by Abby. And they didn't just live stream the birth. Her wedding was even crazier because the entire wedding ceremony itself became a giant live stream sales event. They sold products and gained more than 3.2 million followers, then even reportedly earned around 1.8 million yuan during the wedding stream. They understood netizens and they gave the people a show. Unfortunately, relationships built on hype and attention usually don't have happy endings. Because only about a week after their wedding, Abby accused Mr. Pig of cheating. She started a live stream crying and claimed that he was having an affair with another influencer. She also accused him of assaulting her during the wedding behind the scenes. She said on that wedding day, Mr. Pig demanded 400,000 yuan from her, and when she refused, he slapped her 22 times. Of course, Mr. Pig fired back. He accused her of being the unfaithful one. No, you are the one doing it. He pulled the good old Uno reverse card. Both sides were making allegations, no you did this, no you did this, like pointing fingers, and eventually they got a divorce. The end. No, because 4 months later, they remarried. Abby is still 18 years old, by the way, and she's been married 2 times now and has a child. She's already collecting marriage certificates like Pokemon cards. And here's the thing, getting remarried after a divorce is pretty uncommon in China because statistically, second marriages have lower success rates. And they proved that statistic because 1 year later, they divorced again. And it was even uglier than the first time because she claimed that her daughter, Little Pig, was diagnosed with heart disease. Mr. Pig agreed to take her daughter to the hospital only after his live stream was over. Which is just insane. Like, how far have we gone? Then one thing led to another, and then accusations just kept escalating. Abby said Mr. Pig was a womanizer. She accused him of living off her money while using it to secretly buy another woman gifts. And Mr. Pig? No, you did that. You see why netizens call him Mr. Pig now? At this point, these two had more allegations than anniversaries, and every single accusation became a trending topic, which gained Abby a lot of attention. Because as messy as it sounds, your brain goes, okay, this is terrible, but what happens next? Eventually, Abby obtained custody of their daughter, Little Pig. And keep in mind, she received 50% of Mr. Pig's assets from this divorce. Court documents also showed that Mr. Pig had to pay 10,000 yuan per month in child support. Now, after this entire scandal exploded, Abby became even more well-known in the influencer world. She started skyrocketing on Douyin, Weibo, like every platform on Chinese social media. Her business exploded and she started earning around 50 to 60 million yuan every year from her online branding. She became wealthy enough to buy herself multiple luxury cars, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, everything. At 18 years old. There were even claims that she obtained hundreds of millions of yuan from Mr. Pig after the divorce. And around this period, she also became friends with Han Yi. Yes, our shoulder pad master himself. If you guys remember a video from a couple months ago, it all circles back. Now, after her divorce, Abby started thinking about her face again. She didn't want her current appearance to affect her future relationships. She considered it bad luck and wanted a fresh start. And you know what fresh start means? A new face. And this time, she got the infamous smiling lip surgery. 7 times. She underwent procedures to create M-shaped lips to permanently make it look like she was smiling. Then she injected fillers to achieve a constantly pouty face. As for her eyes, she wanted them bigger, so she underwent lower eyelid retraction and fox eye surgery. She pretty much got every eye procedure in the book, and she literally said that she wanted to show the white part of her eye as much as possible. And already looking at her face in this photo at the dentist, netizens pointed out how her skin was already peeling like painted skin. And it's pretty obvious. And now she has been reborn again, a new Abby with a new face, which of course comes with a new man. This leads us to her next target. His name was Ma Zixin. Exactly 1 year after divorcing Mr. Pig, Abby met Ma at a nightclub. And again, he's a pretty big influencer. This one might be the weirdest relationship so far because these two met, fell in love, and decided to get married in the span of 10 days. I mean, it's just love at first sight. What else could it be? 10 days? We don't even get past the talking stage in 10 days. But if you do want to get past that, you gotta smell good with cheeky soap. They even got Chainsaw Man and Solo Leveling soap. Check out the link in the description to support your boy. And before netizens could even finish congratulating this newlywed, multiple women that were fans of Ma suddenly came out and said they had receipts. Screenshots of Ma flirting with them, asking them to video chat, trying to meet up with them. Then some people accused him of allegedly working as a male escort in Nanjing. They also accused him of being a sea king, as in there are plenty of fish in the sea, and the sea king knows all the fish. I mean, it hadn't even been more than 2 weeks since their marriage and this guy's already getting cancelled. So naturally, everybody waited to see what Abby would say. And she actually defended him. She insisted that there were no overlap in timelines and he was completely loyal, basically saying that none of this happened while they were together. Meanwhile, Ma was trying his absolute hardest to prove that he loved her. Prove to his fans, of course. He tattooed a giant Abby on his arm and also sent her 999 roses. Okay, maybe this one works out. No, because a week later, they got a divorce. And that tattoo was a temporary tattoo. Turns out those messages were actually real, and Abby accused him of trying to hook up with his fans, then also saying that he tried to extort 2 million yuan from her, and Ma started making his own accusations, calling Abby a drug user, which Abby denied. And just like that, Another marriage over. This one was pretty short-lived though. But remember, this was another viral topic that had been born, which made headlines. And who benefited from all of this? Abby. The divorce became one of the biggest talking points of that year. And once again, Abby gained around 50% of his assets from the divorce. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Maybe, just maybe, she's doing all of this on purpose by using romance for fun and then milking the guys once she's bored. Never mind, what am I saying? By now she had been officially married 3 times and divorced 3 times. And you already know what comes next. Another divorce means another face. And this time, she went absolutely all out. We're talking 8 nose jobs, jaw reduction, more fillers, elf ears, bone shaving, and so much that I can't even name them all. She also posted photos of herself undergoing body liposuction, which is an extremely serious procedure. She wanted to completely change her figure by removing all the fat in her thighs, arms, belly. Essentially, she wanted to achieve her ideal appearance without exercising and losing weight. And when people saw these photos, a lot of netizens were genuinely horrified. People were like, she's rich, but also willing to risk her life? This is terrifying. One day she might actually die on the operating table. And at this point, Abby had already undergone 35 procedures and spent over 800 to 900,000 yuan. Almost the price of a small house. And after getting all these surgeries and recovering, guess what happened? Another relationship. In 2025, 1 year after divorcing Ma Zixin, Abby fell in love again. This time with the influencer Song Haoren, and this time it gets interesting because Song was 5 years younger than her. Song was 19 and Abby was just turning 24. And I know 5 years isn't some insane age gap, but the problem was that he was still under the legal marriage age at the time, meaning they couldn't officially register their marriage yet. But Abby, don't take no for an answer. We can't legally register yet? That's okay. Let's just do the wedding banquet anyways. So she held the banquet anyways, which forced Song to give her a bride price of 88,000 yuan for the marriage. You see what's going on here? Now this time, the relationship did feel much different. Song quickly leveraged this newfound fame and launched his own livestream business. But he would only post these sweet moments with Abby where he was cooking for her when she was sick, taking care of her, being all lovey-dovey online. And for once, it actually seemed like this younger guy was in love with Abby for who she was, regardless of her past. The whole thing definitely looked way more genuine than her other relationships. Netizens were even like, they're perfect together, this is real love. She finally found the right person. And then Song turned 20 years old and could officially register the marriage and formalize everything. They later had a daughter named Yumi, so Abby now has 2 daughters, Little Pig and Yumi. Now imagine raising 2 kids while being one of China's biggest drama influencers whose entire life plays out online. It gets pretty messy. Song was trying to make this work out as much as possible. He was taking care of Little Pig and Yumi. They even had these fun little moments where Little Pig was calling him brother instead of dad. Cause I mean, he is 20 years old. And of course, as time passed, people immediately became suspicious. Cause I mean, every time Abby enters a relationship, there's always a catch. A lot of netizens thought that Song was only with Abby because she was rich and famous. But Abby always told people on stream that her family dynamic was healthy. She said Song wasn't after her money, and even if he was, she said she had plenty to give him anyways. Okay, but when you have a mindset like that, eventually the cracks started appearing. One of the biggest tensions was raising the kids because according to Abby, she wasn't allowed to hug Yumi at home because hugging her younger daughter would make Little Pig unhappy and jealous. And Little Pig also often hit Yumi multiple times during arguments and Abby just didn't do anything. So Song was extremely unhappy with this. It seems that there is some favoritism going on, right? And then another massive issue exploded. The bride price. Abby found out that Song's mother had given Song's brother's wife a bride price of 188,000 yuan plus 3 gold jewelry pieces. Meanwhile, Abby only received 88,000 yuan from his mother and no gold jewelry, which obviously, to her, is unequal treatment. Why am I being treated like charity? In her eyes, this wasn't even about the money. It was about the respect. She obviously wasn't receiving the same treatment as another daughter-in-law. And this started another huge argument because Song's mother started beefing with Abby and calling her the plastic surgery ghost who brings bad luck to her husband. Wow. And during this, Song took his mother's side and did not defend Abby at all. A few days passed and everything started to settle down until Abby started a stream and came forward about something she found on Song's phone. She said that while she was pregnant with Yumi, she found messages, and these messages was Song being affectionate with another man. She posted screenshots and the internet absolutely exploded because this was a completely different situation. Things were already getting feisty with the favoritism and the beef with Song's mom. And Song, when he found out about this, he was furious. He started a stream where he completely lost control. He went into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and shouted, "I have to make things clear today." This was crazy. His aunt also tried calming him down during this, and then he also shouted, "She did some illegal things herself. Doesn't she know that?"
我今天必须要当着所有人说，大爷，不要，我闭嘴。拿刀干啥？拿刀！我今天必须要说清楚。冷静，冷静，来，冷静，直播间冷静啊！我觉得，我说实话实说。可以说，来，你别拿这。别动！我他妈今天都该死。停一下，停一下，对不对？难道我没有把这个钱放到家里吗？全部出去吃喝嫖赌了吗？没有，没有。不行，不行。这样。 他妈也要把所有事情说清楚啊！不能这样。你觉得还忍？他到底干嘛了？他自己做了一些。
For the first time, Song is finally revealing his true colors. Netizens were looking at this man this entire time as an innocent, caring, and loving young man. And as he was still crashing out, his aunt immediately took his phone and ended the live stream. This entire thing pretty much broke Chinese internet because some influencers started giving their opinions, some people picked sides, other influencers just avoided discussing it completely because they didn't want to be involved in the drama. And the viewership numbers, generational. Which once again brings us back to Abby's entire plan since she was a child. The more attention, the more money. And then just a couple months ago, back in January, they officially divorced. Meaning that by the age of 25, Abby has now been married and divorced 4 times. At this point, netizens weren't even surprised anymore. People started calling her a marriage blogger. Now, after this divorce with Song, Abby kept custody of the children. She kept the house, the cars, almost everything, and Song later even said that he wasn't even planning to fight for custody of their daughter. He also admitted that he had benefited from Abby's fame and popularity, but denied accusations that he simply used her and ran away, pointing out that he no longer wanted the house or the cars. And once again, Abby received around 50% of Song's assets through his live stream e-commerce business. And now she's a multi-millionaire with one of the biggest followings across Douyin and all of Chinese social media. She built her career brick by brick, scandal by scandal, marriage after marriage. She's probably the #1 most controversial modern influencer there is, and she also has tens of millions of fans and haters watching her now. If you're curious, this is what Song is up to now.
1, 2, 3, go！ 没准备什么样下一课？不给动！来给比例，来什么呀？走走走走走！
He also has millions of netizens asking him every day if he likes men or women. And where is Abby today? Well, she has another boyfriend. I know, nobody could have expected that. Luckily, they're not married. Yet. And yes, he's even younger than Song. She still posts their relationship online in a very high profile way, and she still raises both of her daughters, Lil Pig and Yumi. Honestly, the saddest part about all of this is probably the kids, because Lil Pig actually reportedly developed ADHD from all of the negative publicity. And Yumi has already become entangled in a bunch of rumors with her dad's Song, which will obviously follow into her teenage years. When it comes to Abby, she was a kid who grew up feeling abandoned, and just that little bit of online attention consumed her entire life. It made her feel seen, which led her to searching for money, love, validation, and a fresh start through surgeries and marriage. And she's self-aware that she's been trapped in this endless loop to keep her influencer career. But this is her entire life now, and it's what makes her happy. As someone who hasn't been through a marriage or a divorce, who am I to say what's right and what's wrong? Maybe this wasn't about the money. Maybe it was about the divorces we made along the way. Guys, just please don't get married to someone as a free trial.